All right, we're going to check out this OG Savage Axis in 6.5 Creedmoor today. This is the original Axis, first generation. Well, maybe not first gen, maybe not as soon as they came out, but it is the original Axis. Dead giveaway, no Accu trigger, so it's just the original Axis, not even an Axis 2. As I said, 6.5 Creed. This has the Strata camo, which was it was either Bass Pro or Cabela's exclusive camouflage pattern. These have been discontinued, the Axis, the original Axis in general, but I'm still finding them online. You can still buy them brand new, so it's like new old stock. So some of these are still in circulation. But back in the day when these first came out, you could get them for about $2.99, depending on where you look, maybe $3.49. And a lot of times they'd come with this cheap little scope combo, which is what this is. I think they now come with a Bushnell, but back in the day with the original Axis, they came with a little 3-9 Weaver, which is what's up on here. I do definitely have plans on upgrading the scope at a later date, but we're going to put this thing through the paces today, see how it does. Now, I do have previous experience with this rifle. This was actually my buddy's. We shot it a few years back. I helped zero it for him. I think we zeroed at 100, but we might have gave it like 2 inches high at 100, so it'd have a 200-yard zero. This rifle really likes the S&B 140 grain FMJ ammo. That's the only thing we ever ran through it, but if I recall correctly, we were getting MOA or better groups, 3-shot groups at 100 yards with it. Could not find any of that local. I didn't want to pay shipping for a single box, so I managed to find this local today. Actually got a pretty good price on this. These are 129 grain soft points. So this is obviously hunting ammunition with the soft point there. There's your stats there, so I'm still going to go for a 200-yard zero. So no clue if this particular rifle is going to like this ammunition. Again, we know it likes the 140 S&B FMJ. With these being 129s, I don't know if it'll shoot it as well. The twist of the barrel might prefer the heavier loads, which is what I intend to run through this once I can stock up on that stuff. But also I noticed these are not the most uniform shaped soft points there, as you can see. Also, look at the difference in seating depth there between the bullet on the left and on the right. That is not going to help accuracy. So, on top of it being a completely different grain and that odd-shaped nose there, I don't know how well it's going to do on accuracy, but hopefully it'll do all right today. But already a proven, from prior experience with this exact rifle, proven MOA gun at 100 yards, if not better, with ammo that it likes. So, got a target set up there at 100 yards. We'll check zero on it because this thing has not been fired in a few years. The action was actually pretty dry, so as you can see, there's oil everywhere. So I got it nice and lubed up. And then we got some targets further out here. The 200-yard mound, that's about headshot size steel. And then I skipped 300 because 200 and 300 yards is going to be easy, honestly, with a 6.5 Creed or any center fire caliber rifle, really. We got a 1/6 scale, roughly, maybe smaller, buffalo there. It's probably the torso on that thing is the size of a small or average whitetail at 400 yards there. And then I got my 16-inch gong clear out at 500 there, center of your screen. And yes, I have plans to take that sticker off as well. But so again, you can still find these new if you know where to look, or obviously there's going to be some on the used market. So we're going to see just how well this OG Savage Axis shoots today. So obviously not the Accu trigger. It is a little heavy. I'll get my trigger gauge out, get a weight on that, but there's no creep whatsoever. I've already verified we are empty here. So no pre-travel, no creep, nice solid crisp break. It's just a little on the heavy side. So I actually don't really mind that trigger. It's not as good as the Accu trigger, but I don't mind it at all. And this is difficult to do one-handed, but this bolt is a little stiff. I don't know if they're all like this or just this example, but it's a little harder to get past the spring pressure there to open the bolt than my Mossberg Patriot and Ruger American is. So again, it's more difficult one-handed. Don't really care for that. I mean, it's completely manageable, but it is something I noticed. It's a lot stiffer to unlock there on that second half of the upward bolt travel than the others, and more so than I would like it to be, but not a deal breaker. All right, we'll try to get a weight on that for you real quick. Hopefully you can, there's a glare. I gotta hold it just right for you guys while I'll show you. So 5.2, honestly not as bad as I thought. I knew it was at least a 5 pound, but it feels closer to a 6 to me. But we got a 5.2 there. Let's try again. 5.10. So yeah, she's in the 5 pound neighborhood. It feels a little heavier than that to me. Could just be the design and the contour and whatnot, but she's in the 5 pound range there, which honestly that's about what you want with a hunting rifle, which is what these were geared towards. You know, get you a decent long range cartridge there for a budget price, and so it's kind of fitting too that we're using budget hunting ammo. Honestly, again, I got a pretty good deal on these. It came in just over 20. So if these shoot out of this worth of crap, I'll probably throw I'll throw something up on my campsite page for those if you want to check them out if they shoot worth the hoot here today. Of course, my rifle might not like them and others might, but this has a, I believe, 4-shot detachable magazine. It's fairly easy to load, but because that step down of the 6.5 cartridge is right there, makes it a little difficult. Because to load the next cartridge, I'm pressing down the rim there on the neck of the cartridge, so a little bit tricky with the 6.5. There, that helped a lot. Just push the next cartridge all the way down back here with my finger, and then I can just pop it in there. So safety's on the back. You'll just pull it back for safe, forward for fire. I need my ears. Okay, so somehow looks like these are first shots. Basically, I haven't shot this thing in years. So looks like I pulled my first shot somehow high right there, and then the second shot I'm aiming dead center there at that center red oval. And as I said, I believe we last left this about 2 inches high at 100. That way it's a 200 yard zero. So my second shot, that's exactly where it went, 2 inches high at bullseye. Send the next two down there and see if they hit the same spot. I think I just pulled that first shot off to the right there. And yeah, again, pulling through that trigger, it feels stiffer than 5 pounds. So maybe if you just kind of nonchalantly pull through it, it gives you a 5-some pound trigger pull. But I think if you try to pull it nice and slow, like target shooting like this, it comes in a little heavier. Yeah, buddy, that second shot, I told you this thing shoots good. I didn't know if it was like these, but that second shot, or sorry, that was my third shot, but it was right on top of the second shot. Again, just 2 inches high at bullseye there. So I'm sure going to make the group larger with this third shot now, but we'll go ahead and send that last one of those 4 down. This is foreshadowing here, but I was blaming myself for these shots, saying that I must be pulling them. So I took these 2 more shots here, which grouped a lot closer, but still not great. But you'll see what's going on with the second group that I do here in just a moment. I usually don't have this much difficulty. If you watch the channel, I print MOA and sub MOA groups down there at 100 yards all the time, no problem. So I'm not liking that trigger. So I was blaming the trigger here, even though it's not that bad of a trigger at all, because I just couldn't fathom how I was grouping that terribly down there. But my second group I'm going to show you here now pretty much confirm that it's not me yanking shots with the trigger. So let me show you that here real quick, and then we'll roll in that explanation. But I'm going to try again before we reach out further. So let's see. I will just shoot at that bottom little red dot there. We'll go back to smooth, slow pull-throughs, and hopefully I don't yank any more there. Again, in hindsight, after this second group here, I don't believe I was yanking any whatsoever. So we'll go over that just a second here after I show you those shots. I'm going to try a little different approach here, and instead of just using my hand, fist, whatever as the rear bag, I'm actually going to support it up on the stock right about there against the bag to hold it a little more steady, to reduce the risk of me pulling any of these shots here. So bottom dot, and that method of holding it is going to open up the group as well. But it should help me out overall, because I'll be able to hold that thing steady in case the trigger makes me want to pull any. Bottom dot. Alright, I was a little confused till I got down here. I thought maybe one of those shots hit the same hole twice, but that is not the case. I'm sure you guys saw it in the video right here. There ain't no way I did that. As you can see here, much better overall group, except for that one huge flyer there, and that was with me shooting faster. But yeah, I mean, this one, the very first one, I thought I pulled to the left slightly, because when I pulled that trigger, I saw the scope go this way, and then it printed that very first shot there. And then I forget which number shot that was, but I was keeping it down here the whole time, and then pulled that one slightly left. So you tell me how this one got clear up here. So it just, I know that looks crazy, but I've seen this happen before with other rifles, and not just my own, but other people's experience as well. They find something that they can shoot 1-inch groups all day long with, and then the next thing does 6, 7, 8-inch groups at 100 yards like this. So I just think it does not like this ammo that much. I definitely think I caused some of that, but this is typically what happens, because as I said, I'm a pretty good shot. I've been doing this for a long time. I shoot long range all the time. I mean, 500 yards is easy for me. So I just don't think it likes this ammo. I don't like the trigger, but now that I saw that, and I'm 100% confident, I kept the crosshairs down here the whole time, didn't pull anything that drastically. I just must not like those, and we're getting some flyers with those bullets. This has happened to me a few times throughout the years where I'm like, man, there ain't no way the gun's that bad. There ain't no way it's shooting that ammo that bad. What am I doing wrong? And then it turns out it's not me. It's either a freaking scope issue, or, you know, it doesn't like that particular ammo or something like that. I mean, I recently got a AR upper a while back that was shooting freaking 6 and 7-inch groups down here, and I was like, what is going on? Until I found ammo that it liked, and now it's printing 1-inch groups down here. So I think that's what's going on down here. Like I said, I know this thing I got a call coming in. Man, I hate that. I answered the call because I'm expecting a call back from Taurus regarding, I finally remembered to send in the 942, and it's these people every week trying to call and buy my freaking house. Irritates the crap out of me. Anyways, so yeah, I just don't think it likes that ammo. So I don't like the trigger that much, but this rifle is a known good shooter with 140 grain S&B. So I might have to do a part 2 with the, once I can get the 140 grain S&B, and then we'll do this over again, and I'll be able to prove it. But I know that's what the issue is. Either there's something up with the scope, which I don't think so, because it was fine last time. It is a cheap scope though, but I'm definitely going to put a better scope on there, and then I'm going to get the ammo that we know it likes. So I'll probably do a part 2 to this, but I'm not expecting much with those freaking groups, but for the sake of this video and wrapping this up, we'll go ahead and reach out and hopefully still hit these longer range targets. But I mean, if we're getting 6-7 inch groups down here at 100 because of flyers, then that doesn't bode well for these longer range targets. But let's give it a shot anyways. All right, well, we had about a 2-inch group down there shooting fast other than that one flyer. So if we can maintain that 2 MOA, we should be all right here. So go ahead and reach out to this guy there, 200 yards. A little bit bigger than the headshot, so we'll take one zoomed out here and then try to get you zoomed in for one. Should be dead on. Somewhere right around it. And there's holes all through. It's mild steel, so if this thing shoots through it, it may not make a sound. So take one zoomed in here. As you can see, there's a million holes in that thing. All right, well, I heard that one. So either I shot through a hole that was already there on the first one, or missed it. I mean, it kicked up dust, but so now I'm wishing I set up my target at 300. We got that buffalo out there, like I said. It's a 1/6 scale or smaller. It's about the size of a white-tailed deer. Take one zoomed out here. Let's see. So we're zeroed for 2. Should be about 25 inches low. Hopefully I'll guess right. I just got a duplex reticle in this little cheap scope. And so actually, we should zoom in. That way, if I miss and I don't see it and all that, I can see whether we're low or high or whatnot, because we're guessing here. And that was a hit. I could hear it. So hopefully you guys can see something down there. If I can get this in the right dang spot, we'll take one more here and then we'll zoom out. And just a guess, I saw some dirt kick. It looks like it was just high there. Actually, I think I can see where it hit right above the back there. So hopefully I'm right about that. And I will, come on, aim just a little bit lower. And I heard that hit as well. All right, we got 4 shots left here to make 500 happen. With the 200 yard zero, you can see they're showing 53 inches low at 500, which that is pretty low for 6.5 Creed, but that's because this is hunting ammunition. The BC on the bullet, basically the aerodynamics is not as good as an FMJ. With some better rounds, you're only getting like maybe 38 to 42 inches of dropout at 500, but this one's calling for 53. And obviously, again, we are windy, and it's coming back and off to the right, and it's kicking up and down. So that shot that I seen that missed high on that buffalo out there at 400, It was about a foot off to the right from where I was aiming due to that wind, so it's going to be even more off to the right on that 16-inch gong at 500. So I'm going to be aiming off to the left edge of that gong. We might be hitting the right side of the gong, or we might hit dead center, depending on the speed of the wind when I pull the freaking trigger. And I'm going to start out to where I think we're either just barely going to hit it or be a tad low, but we got 4 shots to make this happen here. Again, we're just guessing here by holding high. I'm also holding for windage, so we're just doing a Kentucky windage type thing. I'm not trying to dial for 500 yards with a $30 scope that it comes with in that combo. So I'm going to guess, if anything, we're going to be low right. That's what I'm going for. That way I can step it up accordingly. We might get lucky and get a hit, but probably going to see a low right hit to start here. So here we go, and then I'll adjust accordingly after the first shot. All right, interesting. So it actually went off to the left exactly where I was aiming, and it wasn't as low as I thought it would be. So it just depends on how this wind changes. So the wind must have really died off for that shot, so it didn't push it to the right at all. Hopefully it stays that way. I'm going to aim a little lower and center over it, and hopefully we get some hits now. But if that wind changes out there, it's going to push it. Yep, the wind kicked up, and we just barely missed the right edge there, but I got the height right now, so I'll aim in between, dead on. See, that time I aimed dead on as far as windage goes, and we missed just off to the right because the wind kicked up and pushed it to the right. The first shot I aimed off to the left, and we hit off to the left. So I will split the difference there, which should mean hits. I got 2 shots left. Got the windage right on that one, hit just under the bottom of it. Held the same aim point for elevation, but for some reason that one dropped lower. So I'm going to keep the same aim point here. Again, obviously at 100 yards, we can see we're having accuracy issues with that ammunition. Does not like it. So hopefully we get a hit with this last shot here. But yeah, this ammo out of the rifle is just not accurate enough for these shots. And you guys should have saw that one right off the left edge there. So it's probably not all the wind doing that. It's the accuracy as well. So we were all over it, all around it, but no hits there. So, which honestly, I didn't really expect much for 500. I was kind of surprised when I was somewhat reliably hitting that buffalo there at 400 with the accuracy that we saw at 400. But no go at 5. So like I said, you know, I initially started out thinking I was yanking those, and then after I seen this, where this was the only one where I was like, okay, I think I pulled that a little to the left, and then yep, right there to the left. All the rest of these, including this one, I felt good about. So it's just flinging some freaking flyers there with that ammo. Again, I've seen it before. Sometimes I've actually had more issues with guns not liking particular ammo than I have had scope issues. I've only had scope issues once on my 450 Bushmaster. The scope kept coming loose just from the higher recoil, and it would have massive groups at 100 yards like this, and I Loctited it down, and it was no longer an issue. But several times I've seen where, and if you've never experienced it yourself, it doesn't seem like it's possibility, but I've seen it several times myself, and then even more times with other known good marksmen that I watch, where a rifle just will not like a certain ammunition or bullet or what have you, and it'll shoot 6, 7, 8-inch groups at 100, and then you switch to something it likes, and it'll print 1-inch groups all day long. So I really believe that's what's going on. There ain't no way I pulled that like that, even though I don't like the trigger that much. So I will do a part 2. We'll get a good, better scope up on there. So a known good scope of mine, which will also have a little more magnification, which will be nice. and I'll get my hands on that S&B 140 grain that I know it likes. So I know it just doesn't like this ammo. I know that's the issue. Stay tuned for part 2. You'll see that proven. So I'm not the biggest fan of that trigger, but I should still be able to shoot under 2 inches, no problem, with ammo that this thing likes, even though that's not my favorite trigger. You'll see that in part 2 for sure. But overall, you know, I like the rifle. It's comfortable, it's lightweight. With 6.5, the recoil is pretty manageable. It's about 30% less recoil than a 308, but it'll let you reach out further than a 308. But I think most people buy these not to shoot long range, because obviously it's not a long range rig, but for hunting. So when I do get that S&B 140 FMJ, they also offer a 140 grain soft point, so I'm going to get those as well, and hopefully it'll shoot those decently tight as well, because most people are looking at these for you know, hunting applications. So we'll do that as well. I'll have FMJ and soft point in that video, so hopefully it likes the S&B soft points as much as it does the FMJs. And you know, I might even have something else to try, like some Hornady or something like that. Who knows, by the time part 2 comes around. But stay tuned for that. You know, the only thing I would change about it, and I know it shoots real good, I just gotta get ammo it likes, be that trigger. So I would say I would definitely go for the Axis 2 or one of the modern Axis if you can. That way you get that Accu trigger, because it's going to definitely be a much better trigger for you. But if you can grab one of these first gens cheap, and you're not a big trigger snob, and you're not trying to shoot, you know, super long range, maybe 200 or 300 yards, it should do what you need it to just fine. But if you're wanting to take those longer range shots, like I said, I'm usually pretty good at working through bad triggers. But if you're wanting to take 400 or 500 yard shots and beyond, then I would definitely go for you know, the Axis 2 or any of the modern Axis with that Accu trigger. It's going to be a lot better for you there for printing tight groups and shooting accurately long range. So I hope to see you on part 2 for any of the products you see me using in the videos. Links in the description. Shooting bag there, target stand I use, shoot and see targets there that I use, steel targets, earmuffs, safety glasses, way more. Links in the description for all that. And for a few products I cannot link to on YouTube, make sure you check out my campsite page, which is also linked in the description or in my bio/about section. But thanks for stopping by and checking this one out today. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you on part 2 when we finally get this thing straightened out and get it shooting like I know it does.